Well, what's up, family? So let me just get straight to the point. If you're not working, you're not going to school, not even volunteering, but you got three kids, food stamps, SSI, housing assistance, and a full Medicare medical coverage. Um, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Let's just check out the clip first.
My whole house is on Medicaid. My husband, me, our baby daughter. Okay, we're all on Medicaid. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to have the birth control in my arm that I have. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to have the antidepressants that I have at no cost to me. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to go to therapy to continue to be the mom I am to the three kids and two separate houses that I have to do. Without Medicaid, my daughter wouldn't be able to go and get her vaccines and go and get all of the things that she needs as an 18-month-old baby. Without Medicaid, my husband wouldn't be able to go and get the medications that he needs and the treatment that he needs for his disability. Without Medicaid, not a single person in my house would have health care. We are low income. Our only income is my husband's SSI. We're on food stamps. We use food pantries. Okay? Without Medicaid, we would never be healthy. And for us, it's not even like body, it's all mental. For my husband, for me, and then we have a baby who needs Medicaid for vaccines, who needs Medicaid for. I already have two children who are diagnosed with autism. So, what if she ends up getting diagnosed with autism? We need Medicaid. We need Medicaid. And if you live in America, everybody deserves free healthcare. That's it. I just love you. Have a good day.
All right, so that's not a struggle, that's a lifestyle choice. And yeah, I said it because someone has to say it. And let's talk about it because she said Medicaid is a human right. And it's been floating around on TikTok, and it's supposed to pull on our heartstrings. And look, man, this woman. Let me just break it down now that we having a conversation, and I'm giving you my thoughts. But I want to get you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. So let me know. So this woman, she mentioned she got a baby, 18 months. She got birth control on her arm, antidepressants in the cabinet, therapy appointments every week, two separate households, three kids, and not a dime coming in except her husband's SSI check. But instead of saying, thank God the American taxpayer is footing the bill for my entire life, she gets on camera and say, we need Medicaid. Everyone deserves free health care. You deserve what based on what? Because here's the thing. The rest of us work until we 60, 80, sometimes 100 hours a week just to stay ahead of taxes and inflation. We cut back, we save, we sacrifice, and we lower our lifestyles. And while we're doing that, you're over here collecting benefits like you're at Sam's Club free sample line, and you ain't putting nothing into nothing. So look, Medicaid is supposed to be a safety net, not a subscription service, and it was designed for the elderly, the disabled, for temporary help, not for you to live off of it because life got hard and you didn't want to make it hard and you didn't want to make it harder by actually trying, right? So you living off of it and with no exception, but just a choice that you chose to live off of it as a lifestyle choice when there's nothing wrong with you because she didn't. I'm just objectively assessing what she said based on the video. She goes to therapy for her mental, but I didn't hear her say she was diagnosed for anything. So she is able bodied, technically, correct? Because some people go to therapy just to get the tools, therapeutic tools, just to know how to keep themselves sane and also keep themselves um to continue to work on themselves, right? So what I'm saying basically is to continue to work on herself, she went to therapy. But she didn't go to therapy for anything medically. It's just a choice. Because in America we have choices. So and a lot of people, some people go to therapy just to have conversation, just to get things off their chest so they know how to assess things better just because they have someone to listen to that's an outsider. So the wild part to me is we're not even talking about someone impossible to work. 80 hours a month. That's literally 2.5 hours a day. That's one part-time job at Starbucks, just one, but that's too much to ask. What you want is to stay home, be a full-time mother of entitlement, and blame the system every time somebody says, hey, maybe take some accountability. And here comes the shield, right? She said, I got 3 kids. And guess what? No one told her to open up her legs, right? I have a child that has autism. So if you have one kid that has autism and then you turn around and have another kid, knowing that you have to take your child to therapy and they need therapy tools and you need to check over their IEP, which for those who do not know is an individualized educational plan, because I can actually speak to this. You're obviously trying to excuse yourself by having the one child with autism because it takes extra time because they learn different. But if you work with them, they are very smart. And you already know that you have to take them to therapy. So why would you turn around and have another child, which was out of your control, that now has autism? So you have two children who has autism, and then you turn around and have a third one. So how are you going to be able to really prepare them for life if they need extra time to learn the things they need to learn because they learn different? Not necessarily that they won't be able to learn or function in this life, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you had extra kids taking away the time to focus on the two kids who has who learns different and they have autism. So how do you figure you're going to be able to be active and very effective as a parent with the lifestyle choice that you made, not being able to really assess these kids and really teach them and spend the time that you need to because you have two kids with autism and you got an 18-month-old baby? That don't make no damn sense. And I'm just calling it for what it is based on what she said. Right? I don't know that entirely. Maybe she got more to it, but I'm speaking on the context of this video. You don't get to bust it down and then bust out the sympathy card every time someone asks how you plan to afford those kids. You're not oppressed. You're irresponsible, is my point. And it's offensive to every single parent who planned their family and still struggles to get ahead. That's the facts. So you have to be intentional. But when you start not being intentional with what you do, you start being ignorant. And those who are your children, because it's bigger than you, get affected. But then you're complaining and saying what you're entitled to do, but you're not even working. Right? Now, I operate out of faith. I am a believer. Okay. So with that being said, is faith without works is dead. And you want basically to you want everybody to have free healthcare, and you want everyone to have Medicaid, you want everybody to have these services that you believe and walk on a strong faith of, but you didn't put no work in to benefit the very system that you are entitled to receive from, that you feel entitled to receive from. Correction. It's mind blowing to me how you want something from a system that has been basically built off of the sacrifices of others while you lay on your back and just stay home. Now, don't get me wrong, because she probably would say, oh, well, I have to take my kids to therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and I have to spend time with them. And it's hard being an autistic parent because, no one really gets them. And, it takes extra time. And, with all the therapies, I can't work. Again, why would you have two more? Why? Simple as that. It would be ignorant for me to have another child if I know that my autistic son needs the extra help and needs the extra time spent, because ultimately it all resorts down to what the parent teaches the child, right? So if someone learns different and they take more time to learn something, but nobody such as the parents who brought them into this world because they didn't control that they came here and didn't ask to be here. Now they have to suffer off of your lifestyle choice because you can't really teach them what they need to know up to par and effectively to make sure they at the right grade level. And this is why they fall. This is how kids fall behind, unfortunately, due to their parents' ignorance. Right. So let's take it a step further. I'm just calling it what it is. So She not making sense, but she wants somebody to feel bad for her, but she the one made the decisions, but she wasn't feeling bad when she made the damn decisions, right? So, look. Now let's talk about the husband. He got his income as SSI disability. Okay, fair enough. If he's truly disabled, that's what the system is for. But both of y'all home all day, that ain't gonna cut it. No part-time gig, no side hustle, no online course, no upscaling, nothing. Nothing. Just vibes and doctor's appointments. You're not stuck. Well, she's not stuck. She's comfortable and she built her entire life around benefits. And now you're mad because someone dare questions the setup. So let's get one thing straight. This whole thing doesn't run on good intentions and sob stories. It runs on people taxes. Your taxes, who's watching this video. The taxes of every person who wakes up early, stays up late, and gives up more than they keep, and people are tired of it. They don't get a break. They don't get subsidies. They don't get sympathy. They get penalized for success. And they get told, these workers, the individuals who work every day, the everyday average Joe who actually get off their behind, pay your fair share, right? Ain't that the Democratic line there? So while someone else refuses to even get up and try, what about my health care? What about my mental health? What about the stress um, people carry that no matter how hard they work, there's always someone else ready to cash the check that they earn. These are the sentiment of the everyday individuals, right? These are what they saying. These are the people that are fed up. What about my health care? What about my mental health? What about the stress they carry every day, no matter how hard they work? And there's always someone else ready to cash the check they earn. I'm repeat it again. And don't even get me started on the politicians. I already done gave you a little bit with the Democratic Party talking points. Bernie Sanders, AOC, all the taxpayer funded hypocrites. They sit up there with their government checks, government insurance, government pensions, telling you, the person who's watching this, that gets off their behind and works, to give more. Always more. Tax people to death up to their eyeballs. And these people have never ran a business, never made payroll, never felt the pressure of being the first one in and the last one out. But they'll go on TV and say, we need to protect the vulnerable. Yeah, then teach them how to work. Because what you're protecting isn't vulnerability, it's voluntary dependence. That's what that's called. That's what that's called. Right? And if you really look at the difference between both parties, you got one party, which is the Democratic Party. And I always say this: once you depend on government incentives so they can control you, let alone act like they're giving you, incentivize you to give you a leg up, only so you hit a ceiling and then you can't grow no further, wrapped around benefits in her case with her individually. With benefits that only get you so far where you're still just making it out and they give you just enough, but you feel like just because you feel entitled and everything is I feel, they give you just enough to make you feel like they're helping you, but they never really help you get ahead or never really help you truly get a leg up. And you have the Republican Party say, let's put more money in your pocket. Let's get more jobs. Let's actually not tax on overtime. Let's actually, and they're talking about getting rid of the federal taxes out of your check so you have more money, you're able to do more things, you're able to live the American dream, you're able to buy a house, and you're able to invest in yourself and actually not be capped by government control by hitting a ceiling because you want to basically upscale yourself so you can upscale yourself because it's more possible because you have the money to reinvest in yourself. But I'm gonna leave it there, family. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. She got me stuttering on this joint. She got me over here like fired up, but I'm gonna leave it there. Get this video a big thumbs up if you got some value from it. On that note, family, I'm out. Peace.